Bill O'Reilly from BillO'Reilly.com, a legend and now a guy who you can see every day online at BillO'Reilly.com and hear his commentary. And it's good to have him out of the belly of the beast, as the belly of the beast has a little upset stomach and is slowly dying. I think that beast. We've seen a lot of stuff go on this week with the Weinstein Company, and I think I just have to start here with probably the most uncomfortable question I could ask you, Bill, and that is, tell me the difference when you see you lumped in with Roger Ailes and Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby. Tell me the difference between them and you, or Harvey and you.
Well, I'm not going to even get into that because that's just a lie. Been nothing put forth against me at all. And I think that in cases like this, Americans should want justice. And justice is what is needed in every individual case. But this is being used as a political hammer. Now, we've proven that. And there are powerful people, as you know, who have organized to trot out people to accuse other people of heinous things with no backup. And I'm actually going to do something about it soon because I'm tired of talking about it. I'm going to have to take some action.
I have to tell you,
it's not going to end. It's not going to end unless it's exposed. The whole thing is exposed.
There's two things that really bother me about this is that the accusations against Roger Ailes, Bill Cosby, and Weinstein are clear, and they're rape. It's bad stuff. That's not the same accusation with you at all.
No, but nobody cares because the people who wanted me silenced, they're not looking for the truth. They're not looking for perspective. They're not looking for anything. I mean, look, I was on the Fox News channel a few weeks ago. I mean, I have the number one book in the country, Killing England, the number one book. And I'm lumped in with these people. It's a disgrace. So I'm going to have to do something about it, and I will.
Bill, you said a second ago that, and I know what you're talking about. When it comes to you, there was an open effort, clearly provable by nefarious people on the left that did everything they could to smear and destroy you. And that's clear. They started to then go down the road with Sean Hannity, and I think Sean was the straw that broke the camel's back. I think you coming out and being put into the dustbin of the Media Matters and their ilk, I think woke enough people up to say, wait a minute, there is something really wrong here.
Sure, because they're losing sponsorship and they're using the dishonest media to push an agenda and to try to silence people by using let me give you an example. There's a tape that is around, and on the tape is an activist attorney offering $200,000 to a woman to accuse a famous man of improprieties. Now, whether that tape will ever see the light of day or not, I don't know. But I know it exists. My attorneys have heard it, and it's shocking. That's the level where we are in America today.
Why wouldn't that be made public, Bill?
People are afraid. If you go up against this far-left cabal, they will come to destroy you and your family. It's almost like the mafia. It's almost the same thing. And, you know, it is disgusting. It's hurting this country. Allegations now become convictions. Accusations are facts. I mean, these talking heads, they don't know what happened. They couldn't possibly know what happened. They weren't there. But bang, you make an accusation, person's guilty. And the game is really, really harming this country.
So I said earlier this week, that I think we're at a Berlin Wall kind of moment, and all that implies. And hear me out with this. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. That, the old school being able to, have a casting couch, that's over. Those days are just over. But like the Berlin Wall, this is a chance for people to come together and say, hey, let's not treat women this way. Let's be good to women. Let's not involve ourselves in anything like that. Well, let's stop it the minute we start to see it. However, just like the Berlin Wall, when it came down, a lot of the communists just took off their communist uniform and put a suit on and pretended, and things actually got worse. We're between doing good and a witch hunt. Which way does this one go, Bill?
It has to go along the fact line. And unfortunately, that's not where the media is. The media is in the witch hunt category, particularly if the media doesn't like your politics. So one of the best examples on the Weinstein front is, what did the left try to do? Drag Trump back into it immediately. Let's drag him back in, okay? Let's try to reignite that. And so people...
That didn't last long.
They're trying, though.
Yeah, I know, but it didn't last long. This Harvey Weinstein is just a despicable human being. And you're seeing even those on the left turn against Hillary Clinton. I mean, it's not universal, but a lot of people are saying, come on.
Again, the key word is Americans should want justice, demonstrable justice. And when facts are presented, then we evaluate those facts. But if some person steps up without any kind of proof at all and makes some wild accusation against someone, that doesn't make it true, particularly if that person is being run by a political operation or motivated by money. You've got to really step back and look and see and let the facts unfold. But who does that these days?
Well, let me take you to Amazon. There is this horrible story of this woman who was what's his name? Not Andy Dick. The fiction writer from the '60s that wrote Man in the High Castle. Yeah, Philip Dick. His daughter, I think, was part of the rollout of the Man in High Castle, and she claimed that the studio head of Amazon was just beastly to her. I mean, really horrible stuff. And she said she went to Amazon and they said, we'll do an investigation. They did an investigation. Nothing came of it. Now, after Harvey has fallen, she came back in the press and she said, this is what happened. After Amazon did an investigation, they've now put him on a leave of absence while they say they investigate it further. This is, I don't know what happened. But this sounds like the beginning of a witch hunt. If they've done an investigation, they should have been able to stand up and say, no, we did an investigation. It was false. But now they are just going to run for cover because people are just going to dogpile. They see your name, you're guilty.
Well, that's right. So, again, what has to happen to protect women and children, because children are a big component of this, all right, is that if anything untoward occurs to you, then immediately you have to go to the authorities, okay, and establish a record. That's why the authorities are there. And, I say this, I've been in the broadcast business for 42 years. and I've worked for 12 corporations. I never had a complaint filed against me anywhere, ever. And all of a sudden I turn around and checks are being written by the Fox News channel at record rates, and then everybody is under scrutiny. So, I mean, look, you've got to, if you want to be fair and you want justice, evaluate each thing as it comes down. But my advice to anyone, any American, if you're abused, you got to report it. You've got to.
Bill O'Reilly back in just a second. You can find him at BillO'Reilly.com. He does have the #1 book in the country, Killing England. And you can hear his point of view every day at BillO'Reilly.com. Back in a second with more.
Glenn Beck.
Bill O'Reilly from BillO'Reilly.com. And congratulations, Bill, on another #1 New York Times bestseller. I know that there was speculation. Watch, Bill O'Reilly's not going to be able to make it to #1 now that he doesn't have the Fox engine behind him. And congratulations, Bill.
Thank you. I appreciate
thrilled.
it. A lot of that is due to you, Beck.
Not true at all, but I appreciate it.
But, chatting with me every week. It's very nice of you to do it. And I think your audience, responds to a book like Killing England. You want to know about your country. You love your country. That's a book to read.
So, Bill, let's switch topics here. Let's go to Donald Trump and the bill that he signed yesterday. Or not the bill that he signed, the executive order that he signed, which is kind of a bad way of saying it because it's not really an executive order. Just redefining or just making sure that everyone understands that the law that is already in place that says that you can form groups of people to come up with your own health care system can be spread more than just labor unions. It can go to churches and to workplaces and people who are just alike. A lot of people think this is really bad. It was helped by Rand Paul, and I think it's exactly the direction we should be going in.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, also attached to that is the ability for health insurance companies to compete everywhere. So no longer can a state say, no, you can't come into our state and sell your wares. So the combination gives Americans many more choices, and of course that will drive down premiums because competition always does that. So Trump realizes that, Congress is corrupt at this point. I think I'm overusing that word corrupt, but what else can I say? That they're voting their own self-interest rather than the good of the people. And so he's using the system, the executive order system, to dismantle Obamacare and at least temporarily replace it with something that would give people financial relief. It's a fairly good political strategy. I don't know how it's going to shake down and, whether it'll be effective or not, but its political strategy is pretty good.
Glenn Beck. This is the Glenn Beck Program.
From BillO'Reilly.com, the author of the new book, Killing England, Bill O'Reilly joins us.
Bill, you had a tweet this week which has two sentences in it that I think are inarguable. A free press is vital to protecting all Americans. A corrupt press damages the republic. Both of those sentences, taken on their own, I don't think anybody disagrees with. The president,
President Trump retweeted that.
Yeah, and
this morning
he did, and this is on the heels of him talking about going after licenses. So I don't think what you're advocating there is that he should go after licenses.
No, that's a fool's errand, as they say, because it's never going to happen. I mean, you can't drag a license away from a big broadcaster, but President Trump knows that. He just uses that kind of rhetoric to get attention to his cause. Everybody should be able to figure that out. at this point.
But wait a minute, hang on just a second. But people don't know the First Amendment. I mean, when I tweeted something saying the First Amendment, first, the broadcast groups don't have a license. Second of all, let's not start asking for people to be licensed by the federal government if they have an opinion.
Sure.
And
Sure.
if somebody's lying, then you sue them for that.
No, you can't. You can't sue them. So that goes out the window. But
What do you mean you can't sue them?
You can't sue them.
He can't.
If you're a famous person and somebody lies about you, unless you move to London, you're going to lose because you have to show malice and damages.
Yes.
So you'll never win in a million years, which is why they can lie about famous people all day long. But let's get back to Trump. What Trump wants the people to know is that the reportage concerning him is now organized not to seek the truth. So he uses the hyperbola of, well, let's take their licenses away. He can't. The government can't take licenses away. They can give an individual station a hard time. So if you have the Nazi station, all right, the government are going to give you a hard time, and maybe they'll get your license. But what Donald Trump wants to do is mobilize people to say we would like to have a little bit of honest reporting. Doesn't have to be pro-Trump, by the way, but just fact-based reporting, just once in a while.
What would you have said? What would you have said if Barack Obama would have said exactly the same thing and said we need to go after Fox because they're lying? Because that's what they said about us.
He didn't say we need to go after them, but
Yes.
he said on a number of occasions that if you believe these people, you're idiots.
Correct.
You know, all that kind of thing.
And he can say that.
I don't want a big intrusive government telling broadcasters what they can and can't say. I think that's really dangerous.
I agree.
What I would like to see, though, is a change in the libel and slander laws where if somebody's lying about you, you can hold them accountable as they do in Great Britain. I think that would be part of the solution to this problem.
Do you think the right way, Bill, to take the Trump tweets on this sort of topic as sort of just bluster?
I always do that.
Yeah.
I maybe it's because I've known him for so long, but his pattern of behavior is very clear. He gets teed off. He wants to vent. He grabs the little machine and tweets. He overstates it, but he doesn't care because he wants his point to get out to the most people. So that's it. That's the playbook, and he uses it every day.
That's honestly a comforting way to think about it. I mean, because I think it's easy to get worked up when you have the president of the United States. He's the head. He's the most powerful man in the world.
I never do that. I never take what Donald Trump says in the fit of pique. Word of the day, pique, P-I-Q-U-E. I never do that. I always look at what he's trying to accomplish with the bluster, as you put it. So where is he trying to do? And he's genuinely angry about the treatment he's received from the media, as he should be. Every study shows the same thing. The media doesn't care anymore. We had Peter Boyer, one of the few honest reporters left, on the podcast yesterday on BillO'Reilly.com, and Boyer said flat out the New York Times basically tells their people, you don't have to cover him objectively. We want him out of office. So do what you have to do to get him out of office. And that's the marching orders. That's what we have. NBC, same thing. Get him out of office. We need to get him out. Forget about what's true and what isn't true. Get him out.
Here's where we might have a subtle difference of opinion. I agree with everything you've said, except when you say, I look at what he's trying to accomplish. I look at that, but I also look at what he's teaching people.
Teaching
people. For instance, he has a cult of personality. And when, for instance, give the details on the latest study on the NFL. The NFL, if you look at the studies on the brand of the NFL, listen to this.
See, conservatives this entire time have been annoyed about the flag protests for over a year. However, when you look at the approval ratings of Trump voters, of how they viewed the NFL, they were largely stable over the entire past year, even with all these protests and such going on. The Trump voters supported had about 30% negative view or 25% negative view of the NFL throughout the protests, even with the kneeling, even with Kaepernick talking about it, even with all these people doing this, until Trump took the stand about how bad the NFL was, right. And then the opposition went from 25 to 60. Now, these people all knew about the protests.
There was another factor you're not taking into consideration.
All right.
You ready, Beck?
I'm ready. I'm all strapped in. I'm ready to go.
Okay. The far left started to promote it. The far left started to promote the insulting of the flag and the anthem. They started to drive it. Once they got involved, the conservatives and Trump supporters said, aha, now we're going to oppose. Because it became, at first it was small ball, and then it blew up into a big issue. And then Trump seized upon it to mobilize his forces. Very easy for him to do. And it's everybody understands it. Either believe that you should be insulting your country before a football game or you don't.
Right, but that's not how they felt. They may have opposed it, but they still had a positive view of the NFL until Trump said something about it. But
that's without the far left. Once the far left got in it, then the NFL was attached to the far left because the NFL didn't take any action.
But whether it's opposition to the far left or it's support for Trump, let's say, because I think the far left was saying this the whole time. But I mean, let's just say it doesn't matter which one it is. Why would people, 30% of a voting public, change their opinion on an organization based on this battle?
Whether because they weren't paying attention.
That was a big story last year. Kaepernick hasn't even played this year.
It was big, but it wasn't nearly as big. But you asked me my opinion, and
all right.
Once it galvanized, once it became clear that this was a social civil war issue, the NFL came down on the wrong side of the Civil War. And
so you don't think that it had anything to do with Donald Trump and this being a war with Donald Trump and Donald Trump coming out and saying what he said, where everybody talked about how, this isn't even about the flag. This is now about being anti-Donald Trump. And so you don't think that 30-point swing had anything to do with I'm standing with the president?
No, because I don't think his popularity is at that level. I think Trump's popularity is somewhere between 30 and 35%. I mean, that's strong. We support him no matter what he does. That's where he is. Now, other people will come in if they like what he's doing with the economy, for example. His numbers are rising there. But I don't think he's got that kind of cachet yet. He might have it in 2 years to swing that needle so far. I believe that people get genuinely angry. They were angry about how the press was sympathizing with these people and how the NFL was being cowardly. That's what I think galvanized the movement against the National Football League.
All right, let's switch quickly to Iran. He is coming out, looks like he is going to come out against the Iran deal. Iran has said, this is going to be very bad for our relationship. I'm fine with that. We don't have a good relationship with them. Where do you stand on what's happening with Iran?
Well, I don't know what look, Trump was very clear when he was campaigning that Iran was the worst deal ever and John Kerry is a moron and all of that. So he hasn't changed his opinion. But I think this is another case, and we were just talking about it, where there's more bluster than anything else. So I don't think he's going to throw the deal out. I think the deal will remain. But he'll decertify it. No one on earth knows what that means, including the mullahs. Right? Decertified? Decertified? What? Okay, he's not going to – nobody knows what that means. And so, we go, okay, So nothing really will change in the nuke deal other than the president doesn't like it, which is a change because he's never liked it.
So when you look at his tweets, going back to the original question, and you say, well, this is bluster, so then you're not concerned about what's been said about North Korea even in the last week?
No. I mean, if he wants to call this idiot Rocket Man, that doesn't bother me.
If he says they'll only understand one thing and we're preparing for one thing and things are all going to change soon, that's just bluster. That's not a signal that we're going to.
I'm not losing sleep over that because he wants to put down a marker. And basically the marker is that, look, North Korea, if you attack anybody, we're going to wipe you out. That's the marker. It doesn't go beyond that.
Bill O'Reilly from BillO'Reilly.com. Always great to talk to you, sir.
Is it really, Beck?
Well,
really
sometimes it's better than others. Sometimes it's better than others.
We covered a lot of ground today.
We did, and I have to tell you,
I love those chimes you have going on. It's just so new age.
I know. I will tell you this, Bill. I have to salute you for coming in. I mean, we hit you right between the eyes, and you did not flinch or back away from it. And I'm just impressed with the way you handle yourself on this.
Well, let me tell you. Do I have 30 seconds?
Yeah. Well, I guess.
All right. This whole thing that I went through is probably the most painful thing that I've ever experienced in my life, and it isn't over. But I am not going to take it anymore. I'm not, and it is disgusting. Everybody should read Cheryl Atkinson's book, The Smear. And I just appreciate you giving me the airtime because a lot of people won't.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, Bill. I appreciate it.
All right.
God bless.
See you soon.